Hello everyone, my name is Jorge, and I'm going to be doing a video about my experience with fibromyalgia. The reason I'm doing this is because, so when I was first diagnosed and I was doing my research on fibromyalgia, and I noticed that there was a lot of women, a lot of older women that were talking about their experience with fibromyalgia. And so as a young male, I didn't really see many stories about like young guys dealing with fibromyalgia. So I thought I'd talk about my experience if any of you out there can relate, and I'll talk about what I've taken so far that has helped me manage the symptoms and just my coping strategies. So I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia about a year ago. It first started off with these really intense headaches that just wouldn't go away. It was like this intense pressure in my head, and I thought I might have had just like migraines or something, but I went to go see a doctor, and she just prescribed me she just said, just take ibuprofen. If it gets any worse, or if it gets pretty bad, just take some ibuprofen. And I did that, but the headache still never went away after weeks. So after a month, I was referred to a neurologist who did some pretty intense work because the headaches were getting so bad and so frequent. They decided to do a CAT scan of my brain, as well as a lumbar puncture, which, if you don't know what that is, they pretty much just stick a needle in your spine and extract some cerebrospinal fluid, just to test if there's a little bit too much spinal fluid in your skull that may be causing that pressure in your head, or if there's any abnormalities with the fluids themselves. So after those tests came back negative, the neurologist just said, well, I mean, they're probably just migraines, so at least we've kind of ruled out that's anything like a tumor or anything dangerous. But around this time too, I started to experience really bad muscle pains. So just like overall weakness and fatigue, full body muscle pain, and I'm talking about like my shoulders, my upper arms, my upper back, my lower back, my legs, my calves, my knees, like pretty much everything was hurting all the time. And as well as joint pain, like my wrists and everything. And so when that started happening, it was also something new that I hadn't experienced before, so I was a little bit worried. And I mentioned this to my doctor, and they went ahead and referred me to a rheumatologist. And when I went to go see the rheumatologist, he did an x-ray of my lower back because he thought it might be this disease called ankylosing spondylitis, something like that. And when the x-ray came back negative, he finally said, your symptoms are probably something called fibromyalgia. And pretty much what fibromyalgia is, it's if you don't really know what it is, but I'm sure you do if you're already seeing this video, it's just kind of unexplained full body pain, and doctors aren't really sure what causes it. Some suggest, or some theories are, that it might be from a past physical trauma manifested later in life through physical pain, or just the immune system not working as well, or also just that it's the pain signals in the brain have somehow been triggered to release this pain signals, even though when the body's not in physical pain, if that makes sense. So anyways, I took the diagnosis as fibromyalgia, and I was like, okay, well, I guess this, whatever's going on, I mean, fibromyalgia is a label that helps explain my full body muscle pains, my joint pain, my headaches, and on top of all this, I've also had IBS issues. So all of this, I guess, is just falls into the umbrella term of fibromyalgia. And if you do have fibromyalgia, it affects everyone differently. Some people, they get what's called flare-ups. That means they can function normally throughout the day, and it's only when the flare-ups come up that that they're in like a lot of pain. Or some other people like myself, it's not much of an up and down. It's more of a constant. Like, just to give you an example, like I wake up in the morning and my whole body is kind of like in pain, and I've noticed that it's not really exacerbated by the activity that I did the day before. It's not like I did any strenuous activity or anything. I'll just wake up in full body pain, and then so it takes me about like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of just waking up in that pain to just kind of like relax and just say, okay, well, you got to get moving. You can't just stay in bed all day. And then throughout the day, I'll just kind of go through the day with different levels of pain. I say it fluctuates between like maybe 7 or 8 where it's really intense. And it could be any part of my body, like my upper arms, my lower back, my legs, or maybe even all at once. And then sometimes maybe it gravitates down to like a 3 or 4, where it's like I know it's there, but I can ignore it, and I can still do normal activities like work or exercise. So that's how my fibromyalgia has kind of affected my day-to-day life. It's kind of constant chronic pain, full body pain, headaches, and IBS. So with that being said, once I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I was kind of referred to pain management clinic. So I saw a pain management therapist. I also started just seeing my doctor regularly to see what treatments were available. I also started seeing a mental therapist because, I mean, I'm 25 years old. It was a pretty big blow to me to find out that I had a chronic condition that I would have to most likely deal with for the rest of my life. And so it was kind of a really big burden to bear, and it was overwhelming, I would say, because not only are you dealing with the physical pain throughout the day that doesn't seem to get alleviated by anything that you do, in addition to that, you're also dealing with the emotional pain of knowing that you have limitations now, that you can't necessarily do other things that people your age are doing. So it's kind of a big mental blow to you mentally, because it's hard to deal with physical pain, and it's hard to think of anything else when you're in constant physical pain. So I did start seeing doctors regularly. The first line of treatment, of course, was they put me on antidepressants, and I was a little bit hesitant at first because I figured, well, how are antidepressants really going to help me with my pain? But I was prescribed, and I'll go ahead and show you guys. It's these pills called duloxetine, which in the brand name is Cymbalta, and it's mainly used for a major depressive disorder, but it was also, I think back in 2008, approved for treatment of fibromyalgia because it somehow helps with the neuropathic pain that a lot of people with fibromyalgia experience. And to be honest, it has helped. It's helped with my mood. It's helped with the pain isn't as bad, or I should say the pain isn't as frequent or as intense as it once was before I got on any medication. So that has helped. So if you haven't tried Cymbalta, I would suggest that you try it, at least to see if it works. I started off taking 20 milligrams and then went up to 40 milligrams, and that's kind of been the nice therapeutic dose for me. But again, if you have fibromyalgia, you've probably heard there's very little medication out there. There's very little treatments out there. So just kind of take it all with a grain of salt. Some of it helps for some people, and some of it doesn't help at all. So you kind of just cross-elimination, what works for you, since everybody's different. So this, luckily, to a small extent, has worked for me. So I'm still taking this. I've kind of weaned down to 20 milligrams, but just because I hate taking medication. But yeah, I mean, it helps, and the side effects are very minimal, if any. For my digestion, I bought these little peppermint oil encoded tabs. So they're I take them in the morning right before I an hour or so before I eat breakfast, and then right before I go to bed, so like maybe 2 hours after I had dinner. These are really good because they're supposed to help kind of relax your lower intestines, so you're not constantly like cramping or not constantly feeling like pain or indigestion. And these are special because they're the enteric coated peppermint oil, which I recommend you get these ones because they're coated in a layer, so they don't or they aren't released in the stomach. They're instead released in the lower intestines where they have the full effect. And so far it has helped me with my IBS. It's been really helpful. And so I would recommend this. And again, I'm telling you all this after a year of having experimented with so many vitamins, so many types of like natural remedies and treatments. And I mean, I would recommend that you kind of just forget about that, like forget about vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever, because I don't know, the science isn't there, and I don't think it didn't help me, and it doesn't help most people either. But hey, whatever, when you're sick, you're gonna try anything, right? And so this is me after a year of trying a lot of different things. This is what I'm still taking because I believe it to still help me. So so again, yeah, duloxetine and the peppermint oil. So duloxetine for like my depression, as well as like my fibromyalgia pain, and then this one for the IBS. But I will say the thing that has helped me the most, and I say the most, like the game changer for me, is this thing called cannabis oil. So I'm sure you know cannabis, it's marijuana. So luckily I live in Oregon, which marijuana is legal here both for medical purposes and recreational uses. And so when the pain was really intense, and at that point I didn't have any treatments, I didn't know how to alleviate the pain or how to get rid of it or what to do. Like I was seriously just like about to lose it. A friend recommended that. He's like, hey, have you tried, marijuana? And I was like, no. And I mean, to be honest, like I never really smoked in my teenage years through college. I never tried marijuana. But it was legal here, and so I figured, hey, I've tried everything else, and if this has the potential to help me, why not? And I've heard good anecdotes online with people with my fibromyalgia that have reacted well to the cannabis oil or just like marijuana itself. And so I had gone to one of the dispensaries like a couple blocks from my house, and I'd kind of explained to them my situation. I was like, hey, I'm kind of dealing with chronic pain. Don't really want to smoke it, more just kind of ingest it, and just what products is gonna give me the full benefit. And so the one that I was recommended was this 1-to-1 cannabis oil, if you can see that. So I won't necessarily try to get to the science behind it, but I'll just kind of briefly explain. So what this is just kind of like the purest extract of just the cannabis oil, so like the cannabis leaf, and it's in a 1-to-1, meaning it's equal parts THC, which THC is known to like give you like the psychoactive high effects, and one is a CBD, which is supposed to be like the muscle relaxants, and that's the good one for chronic pain. But they work well with each other. So if you just take CBD, it's not going to work as well if you took some THC with it, and vice versa. If you take full THC with no CBD, it's not going to have the same effect as taking them both together. So this is a product that I got, the 1-to-1 cannabis oil, and it's in a little syringe like this. And what you do is just kind of like open it up and put a little droplet and then just ingest it. And it's really easy. I take it every morning and every night, and it has seriously changed my life. Like ever since I got fibromyalgia, like I was just in pain constantly, and it was so overwhelming. But ever since I started taking this like regularly for the past 2 months, it has changed my life. Like, I mean, I don't wake up with as much pain. I don't have as much pain throughout the day. um, and my mood is better. Like everything, like just everything gets better once you're on cannabis, and um, it was the only thing that consistently helped me and that drastically helped me. Because again, like the Cymbalta, it probably helped a little with my mood, or it probably just didn't do anything at all. Like I mean, I don't know, but I'm still taking it just in case. And the peppermint oil, it helps with digestion. But the real game changer, if you have fibromyalgia, is get yourself some cannabis oil. And if you're lucky enough, I know some of you guys don't live in a place where it's legal, but if you're lucky enough, like to live like in California, Oregon, Washington, or like I don't know, a place where it's legal, there are so many products out there. So this is just one that I tried, and luckily it worked. Like the first one that I got, and but if this doesn't work for you, you can experiment with different types of CBD, THC strands, or different types of products. I know with a lot of people, like, I mean, you just kind of look online, like a lot of anecdotal evidence that people with like seizures, people with chronic pain, like this has been a game changer for them, and I will completely advocate for that too, because it has been a game changer for me. Like this has been the only thing that has significantly helped me with fibromyalgia. So I would recommend that you take this or something similar to this if you haven't taken anything else. And sometimes this will be the only thing that you ever need. And so if you can just take one thing and then be able to function and live a normal life, like why not, you know? Who cares about the stigma behind marijuana? Like if it helps you, and you know with fibromyalgia, like nothing really helps. And if you find something that helps you, do it. You know, why not? So that's what I'm taking now, and for the most part, I've been managing my fibromyalgia symptoms fairly well lately. The thing is, when you have fibromyalgia, it's really hard to just, you know, function, you know, to do things because you're in constant pain. That's all you're thinking about. So once you find things to like alleviate that pain and that stress or that anxiety that it's causing, which I have through cannabis oil and through like medicine that I'm taking, you can actually start building a healthier self. So just every day, like in the morning, or just in general, I eat really healthy. Like I'll eat in the morning, I'll eat a bunch of berries, I'll eat some kale, I'll eat apples, pears, just fruits, in general, some yogurt, some kefir milk, all of that, and I'll just kind of mix it all just in my regular breakfast routine. For lunch, I'll also have like just lots of vegetables, and I've kind of eliminated red meat and just certain stuff that I thought, okay, well, you know, I have control over my diet and I'm really trying to eat healthy, and so I eliminated some red meat and just some processed foods, fats, and so I'll eat a lot of fish, a lot of vegetables, a lot of raw, fresh food, and I think that's helped a lot with my digestion and just overall energy levels. So, but I mean, you need to like somehow learn how to manage the pain before you can start, you know, like controlling other aspects of your life, like food. And the next thing I also did was I started exercising again, which once I got fibromyalgia, I was too afraid to exercise or do any type of activity because I was always scared that the pain would come back intensely. Because if you have fibromyalgia or any other type of chronic pain conditions, you know, if you overdo it, even by the slightest bit, you won't just be sore like the next day like any other person. You'll be in agonizing pain for the next week. So I just gradually started going like running, doing a little bit of weight training. Of course, I haven't gotten back to the point that I was before I got fibromyalgia as far as like weightlifting or training like that, but I'm getting to a level where it's comfortable for myself, where I feel good, I feel energy, and I feel like I'm exercising good, like with running and some weight training. And definitely one of the exercises that I love doing ever since I got fibromyalgia, it's been the best type of exercise, it's swimming. Swimming isn't strenuous, it's not too difficult, but it has literally helped me like so much. Like whenever I swim, like I feel great swimming, I feel great afterwards. It's just a great exercise if you have fibromyalgia. So I definitely recommend you take up swimming, because that's what I did, and that's the best exercise that I've done so far. In addition to that, like in addition to everything I just said as far as healthy eating, the medication, the cannabis oil, the swimming, what has helped me a lot too, and I learned this with like therapy and all that, it's just kind of, you know, relax. The pain is going to be there regardless. You know, the pain isn't ever going to go completely away. You have to accept that fact if you have fibromyalgia, and that's kind of one of the hardest things, especially for me as a 25-year-old. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm in the body of a 90-year-old, and it sucks. It really does. Like, you want to do things that, like, that you feel like you should be able to do. You want to do things that other people your age are doing, but you have to accept the fact that you have certain limitations now that you can't. But it doesn't mean that you can't live a fulfilling life. Like, I eat healthy, I exercise, I swim, I still have my hobbies, I paint, I write, I still do my video work. So in all intents and purposes, from the outside perspective, I'm still a normal 25-year-old, and I've only really told this condition, or that I have fibromyalgia, to very few friends, and of course my family members, because a lot of times they don't need to know. You know, I'm managing it fairly well, I'm coping fairly well, and yeah, I mean, from the outside I look like a normal 25-year-old, and of course if I'm doing well now, I'm managing it pretty well. So yeah, I mean, I did this video because I know that when you first get diagnosed, it's a really scary process. It's terrifying. You don't know what's going on with you. You don't know what to do, and you have doctors that kind of dismiss your condition as just, you know, that you're just kind of making it up. It's all in your head, because physically, I mean, you don't look sick. But I mean, I'm here to tell you that after having been like a year I saw 6 different doctors, and I've tried all these different like self-care things that, you know, I found no doctor told me about cannabis oil. I had to find that out through like friends or something, and that's helped me. So I've been through the process, you know, I've been through the therapies, and I mean, it's hard. It is hard. Like, don't let anyone like kind of tell you it's not hard, or that, oh, you'll get over it, because if you have fibromyalgia, you know how difficult it is. You know how scary it is. You know how it can impact your life, but there's hope. I mean, you really have to take control of your life, take control of your health, and do what's right for you. And yeah, I mean, that's what I would recommend. I mean, and I hope that this helps somebody. If it even helps just one person, then I would feel good. Just because, again, when I got first diagnosed with this, I could not resonate with many people or with what it was. You know, it was still something that was like, no, that can't be me. This can't be happening to me, right? You know, because when you look online, it's just, you know, 80% of the people that have it are women, and the majority of them are like in their 30s or 40s. And so for me as a young male, I thought, you know, that is this what I have, or is it something else? But I mean, just because you're a male and you're young, I mean, anyone can have fibromyalgia at any age, any gender. So and all of our pain is just as bad, you know. Like, it's not like somebody's pain is like less than others, or, you know. So just know that you're not alone, that there's hope, and that yeah, you just you learn to live with fibromyalgia, and it's fine. It's just something that you have, and you move on. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to leave some comments, and I'll try to respond. But yeah, so I hope this helped somebody. But yeah, all right.